Hello and welcome to In Conversation with WLV Doctoral College. I'm Dr. Deborah Curitan and I work in research and development at the University of Wolverhampton.
I'm Dr. Ben Halligan. I'm Director of the Doctoral College.
We're today talking about jobs we've started a vlog series on applying for jobs after you finished your doctorate, and we're going to continue with that theme. So today we're going to talk about research in an organisation that you're going to make an application to. So the scenario is, you've been looking through the various newspapers, the various websites, you've identified a job that you think that you are ideal for, and you're going to make an application. So rather than just making an application cold without doing any research, what advice would you give to people about making sure that the application is tailored to the organisation that they're applying to?
I think this is the most important thing. I think if you're on a bit of a treadmill and you're doing job applications fairly often, if we're talking about academic jobs, although we'll talk a bit beyond that as well, there's a danger that you've got your standard template letter, you've got your standard CV, you're saying the standard stuff in both of them. You're just kind of banging this off to any advert that you come across. That seems okay, and what you've not therefore done is connect your abilities and your skills with what they're looking for, which would be in the job spec. But also, that information will be available to you, I think, if you do a bit of online research about the university and the department that you're applying to. And all of these places will have a lot of detail on their website. I mean, to me, it's often a matter of, for some universities, perhaps cutting through the generic, our research makes differences to the world, this kind of thing, prose, and then moving straight to who are the members of staff there, what are they teaching, what are their publications. You can find quite a bit of stuff. There'll be profile pages, it will list their publications, it will list modules that somebody is teaching, it probably will give you access to reading lists or handbooks. You're actually going to get quite a good sense of what the department is delivering on a week-by-week basis to its students. And I think in that respect, if you can present yourself as fitting in with that, you'll be putting yourself in a very good position for possibly an invite for an interview. I remember talking to some postgraduate researchers who were applying for jobs, and one of them hadn't done any of this, but their particular area of research was absolutely aligned with research that was going on in this department. And I said, you really need to, point this out. Because he simply hadn't done it, because he hadn't checked this stuff out.
So what else? So looking at the profiles, what people are publishing, what the department is teaching. But what about things like the learning and teaching strategy, the research strategy, perhaps the strategic, the university strategic goals or strategic pillars that seem to be quite fashionable at the moment?
Yeah, because that stuff comes up in an interview. And in fact, I mean, you're well placed to say, I'm a great believer in whatever the strategic goal is. Also, I suppose, in addition to those things, you could look at social media uses of a particular department. I mean, have they had a number of speakers? Have they got a Twitter account? What's going on? Are students publishing some sort of student journal? What about the National Student Survey results, the NSS results? If you find that there are perhaps areas of concern in terms of the quality or return of feedback, this would be quite useful in terms of talking about your understanding of expectation management and timely return of feedback and communication strategies. If you find they're very good at that, then likewise you can say, I understand the importance of this, and you can look at the PRES results, maybe you can look at the REF results. There's quite a lot of external data that will allow you to really have a very strong, informed overview of the department that you're applying to. And I think as well, in a way, it's not good enough just to say, what a wonderful department, what a lovely group of people, I'd really like to work here, please have me. I think in a way, the good candidate will acknowledge strengths and weaknesses and challenges and say, I can see this is difficult in this area, but I bring some experience with me in respect of this, and I'd like to contribute that experience to your department. They're not, what I'm trying to say is interview panels are not necessarily waiting to hear compliments from you. They're waiting to hear that you know who they are and what they do, and that you can see a role for yourself within that.
One of the things that irritates me in interviews, so I'd be interested to hear your opinion on this, is when people, we've been involved in lots of presentations of people who've been applying for jobs at the university here, and any job post, doctorate or post degree is going to involve you doing a presentation. So the thing that really irritates me is when somebody who's applying for a job starts talking about we, us, our, as if they're working with us already. And I know the psychology behind that is about trying to give the impression that this person is one of us. It's about removing the in and out group boundaries, fuzzying those boundaries. But because I know that's what they're doing, it irritates me. So what's your thoughts on that?
It is a bit presumptuous, isn't it? Is that the psychological thinking behind?
Yeah, because you're an outsider, and how do you become an insider? And you're more likely to warm to, like, positively judge an insider than you are to judge an outsider. So to become an insider, you remove that boundary and you start talking about us as a collective. You are one of us, I am one of you.
Well, I think as far as I'm concerned, it's a bit like going to tea with the Queen, isn't it? You don't just sit down and put your feet up. So I think you have to, you're not part of the royal family, unless that's why you're going to tea, because you're announcing your engagement to somebody. So I would suggest one maintains that distance and doesn't be presumptuous. But I think that what you can do, and I think this is irritating but it's quite effective, is where you have an applicant who said, I see that you teach this module, that module, the other module. I have expertise in this, I've recently written an article on that. The second module, I've already taught elements of this, I'm familiar with the reading list that you've got. It's quite a boring thing to do, but in fact, it's very difficult when someone does that to think that they're not a good candidate. Often a position is vacant and it creates internal pressures within a department because they need to fill it. They need someone to come in to look after hundreds of first years or to manage some research project. And until that person's there, everybody else is scrabbling around. So pragmatically, the person that seems to be the person you can rely on to deliver that stuff is going to be looked at quite favourably. And I think this is why there's often quite a conservative consensus within interview panels that they don't want to take risks so much. I mean, that the brilliant outsider might be fascinating and might be, amusing for a couple of years, but could be a disaster. And if you have these pressures to contend with, you want someone who will deliver the job. Because if not, it's a problem for everybody in the department. They have to pick up bits and pieces and cover and, so there is a conservative bent. So I think that my advice really would be to try and be at a very solid, middle of the road, mainstream, reliable, pleasant candidate, not some wild outsider that's going to reorganise the way that you deliver undergraduate courses. And
so we've talked about research in the organisation, but don't assume that the organisation isn't going to research you. So what are your thoughts? Because we've done lots of vlogs on, you should have a social media presence, blah blah blah. What's your advice on the organisation researching you? You should have a research presence, having a website, having your own website, having a profile on the university website. So for our students, please complete your elements profile, because that will mean you will have a profile on our website. Those are really good things that people will pick up about you. But if you've got a Facebook that isn't locked and you've got lovely friends who'll post photographs of you drunken asleep in the bath or, you know, whatever at some party, that is going to go in against you. That's not going to go in your favour. So it's really important to make sure that you've got a very positive online profile. So, you know, having an account that's, if it's a private Twitter account, then locking it so that you can rant about whoever, you know, whichever politician you want to rant about, or say the things that you want to say in private that you know, potential employers aren't going to pick up. But have your work Twitter account that kind of talks about your ideas, your thoughts, highlights where you've been teaching, perhaps tweets some photographs of you in the lab, or you collecting you in an archive, or you analysing your data or whatever. Tweet about the papers that you've written, etc. So that you've got a good, positive, public profile that suggests that you are a dynamic researcher, that you are a dynamic academic.
I mean, because that in itself, if you're doing that, using social media for work-related things, may put you above many other academics who generationally aren't so inclined to do that or don't have the time to do that.
Yep.
So even someone who's fairly active in disseminating ideas through social media is a positive, I think. I mean, most university processes will be that you receive the application form, and this is why you often have a fairly irritating online application form to complete, because that way you have 10, 20, however many applications, and they're all to the same specification. Otherwise you'd be looking at CVs that someone might have paid a professional to put theirs together, you know, the other might have used an old computer and it...
Yeah.
So, okay, so within the selection process, they're actually looking really just at the applications and maybe the references. But at most universities, there'll be a point when they shortlisted candidates and they release the names of the shortlisted candidates to staff and invite them to attend maybe the presentation that you were talking about before. And at that point, for sure, everybody starts doing what you've talked about, is finding out who these people are. And if they come across unfortunate material, like you're threatening to beat somebody up on Twitter, that may be against you. If they find nothing, that might be an issue as well, because they don't know who this person is. Who are you? And it may be you've got a name that makes it hard for people to find stuff about you. But if they find a vibrant online presence and a website and engagement with the elements of your field, then they may think this is somebody that we'd love to work with. Good gosh, we could bring all of this stuff into our fold. How wonderful that would be. So straight away, before you've even turned up for the interview, you're in a stronger position. I think that it's very important, therefore, to develop that online profile as you're researching. And then, as you said, through Elements, we've invited all of our postgraduates to put their own homepage up, and we absolutely support that and give you feedback and help you doing that. That's terribly important.
Okay, so top tips.
I think spend a good couple of hours chasing information online, following leads through, finding out as much as you can about the department before you put the application in. And then if you're called to interview, maybe do some of that stuff again. And
my advice would be spend a good couple of hours checking out your online footprint. So not just going to your accounts, but actually Googling your name and see what comes up.
Okay.
So thank you very much for listening, and as always, we're
doing one on, we released them on Friday.
Yeah, thank you. Complete brain death. So thank you very much for listening, and as always, we're really interested to hear what you would like us to talk about, so do let us know what vlogs you'd like us to do. Do follow us on Twitter, on YouTube.
And on Twitter.
And on Twitter, yes. Right, can I just cut?
That's it. Okay, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.